Okay, so I guess this is going to just be an ongoing thing to talk about, the internet being stupid, separately from the bigger phenomenon of almost everyone being stupid almost all of the time.
Think of how stupid the average person is, and then realize half of them are stupider than that.
It's probably also worth addressing what makes the fact of that so separately compelling, namely, if by now most of us have internalized that stupid is just part of the human condition that we live with as a trade-off for conditions now being generally better than they were at various points in the past, so natural selection is taking fewer and fewer people out of the equation just in the day-to-day existence, so we're stuck with more stupid people walking around alive into adulthood than ever before, then why is it interesting that the internet seems so uniquely stupid? And fair. Very, very fair. I happen to think that the answer is that one of the stupider things about our stupid world is that we still attach the presumption of smartness to things that are at best intellectually neutral, like certain genres of fiction, or practical fashion items, or jobs or job tools like computers, and thus, the internet. We still, as a society, seem to regard computers, computer science, digital technology, even if now mostly unconsciously as if by reflex, and even though these are now things everyone uses for everything, as smart people stuff, because once upon a time we remember movies and TV telling us that computers and tech were complex things that only super smart to the point of socially uncomfortable people could really grasp the potential of. And the fact that we still do this, even as we also know in other parts of our brain, smarter parts of our actual brain, that it's not true, and most of us are walking around with a device more powerful and complex than the entire control room that sent the Apollo missions to the moon in our fucking pocket, and use it to take pictures of our food, watch porn during work meetings, play Candy Crush on the toilet, and doom scroll Twitter, master something instead of going to bed, very negatively skews our perception of what the business and culture of the internet and the tech world is by making us forget that it's exactly as stupid, if not more stupid, as every other business and every other person and everything else, and therefore it's not only funny and educational, but in my mind, extremely important public service to remind ourselves, the internet is stupid, its opinions don't matter, its influence is both overstated, overrated, and yet also still too much to be healthy, and that however seriously you take it, you should probably take it even less seriously than that. Wow, that was a run-on fucking sentence. Hope that makes sense in the edit. Probably not, but we're gonna keep going. Case in point, maybe the most perfect encapsulation of this perception skewing and the reason it should be unskewed in the first place ever is the fact that the opinion making of the internet is the main vector by which a humiliating number of otherwise sensible people who really ought to have known better managed to be convinced that Elon Musk was some kind of genius. And look, whatever else you think of Elon Musk, of his perceived politics, his business practices, his priorities, behavior, the fact that his cars keep exploding, when you set all that aside and just focus on the perception versus reality of that one aspect, just that one fact, Elon Musk is incredibly fucking stupid. No, stop, sit down. This is mostly not a politics or a culture thing. Dude is a fucking dummy. Did you not know that? Like, is this 2010 and you only just heard his name from a TED Talk, or you just saw a Tesla for the first time and nothing else has happened yet, or you just watched the actual worst episode of The Simpsons and so you still think he's a smarty smart guy? Cause no, he is not. I mean, regardless of whatever else you might think about him as a man, or what he may or may not theoretically believe or have done, which, to paraphrase the song, some of those who work forces are the ones who gift horses. My man here is just dumb. Straight up, regular old, capital D, dumb. Do people not even really know the whole story here? Because you can just look this stuff up on the internet. It's not even complicated or secret or even unfamiliar as stories go. Sometimes rich people have stupid children who spend their money trying to turn indulging their hobbies into personal business ventures because they think that's what they're supposed to do. And this goofy dipshit's parents, that's actually mommy, by the way, real photos. Kind of feels like I could just stop the video right there and say, here's my kid's definitely going to be a fucking mess, the headshot. They were old school Monopoly guy, suspects in a Hercule Poirot mystery rich. Daddy was part owner of a South African emerald mine. Mommy is a former model and dietitian from Canada. He grew up rich as hell, went to school in the US, ingratiated himself into the Silicon Valley set by throwing big ticket parties at school because he liked computer games, technology, science stuff, eventually starting Zip2. And the parts that didn't actually work of what would become PayPal failed upward through PayPal until Peter Thiel came back in and pushed him out so that company could still be a thing. Peter Thiel, actual villain and actual smart guy, unfortunately, because that dude is fucking evil. Seriously, look some of that shit up. He puts together SpaceX and Starlink, which he did, mostly actually put together with people. It's unclear exactly what he does there, but okay. Eventually, those worked out once they got NASA to do a contract with them, and most notably, in terms of how Elon presents himself, though, he bought enough shares of the already existing and operating Tesla company to get himself declared chairman, then got himself declared CEO and somehow co-founder, do the math on the timeline of that one, and now here we are today. So yeah, old story. Family money, assets are inheritable, but brains are not. If you watch Succession, which as we discussed in the last one of these, there's a good chance you don't.
Succession. This show is so popular that almost 6,000 people in New York and Los Angeles have seen it.
Surely you're joking.
I'm joking, yes, but not by a ton.
He's not the smart one that gets overlooked. He's not the one that doesn't give a fuck, but actually might be a shrewd survivor. He's the Kendall, but with even fewer sympathetic personality traits. And the thing is, the history of families with money is loaded down with versions of this fucking guy. It's the most common, boring, cliche genre of what happened to all that generational wealth story that there is. The only thing that makes Elon remotely interesting in the dumb fuckdale sons of rich guys pantheon is that for most of history, these stories were kind of predictable. Dumb rich kids would take their family money and blow it all trying to disprove the adages, it can't buy you happiness, it can't buy you love, it won't make you cool, or even it won't get you into heaven, by buying cars or sports teams or yachts, dating or marrying supermodels, getting obscenely expensive plastic surgery or nice clothes or big houses, throwing huge parties in those nice houses, or investing massive sums into charities, pet projects, the arts, whatever. But what seemed to happen for Elon and a handful of other early 2000s tech bubble douchebags we're all stuck with now is that he was a guy whose hobbies and fixations were all nerd shit, basically, which, as we discussed up front, is largely coded as smart and thus can make you feel smart for being a fan of it, but isn't necessarily. And he happened to come up right in the relatively brief Steve Jobs moment window when the idea of nerds are cool now was taking shape in culture. So instead of spending daddy's emeralds on becoming a sports star or a ladies' man or a philanthropist like all the other idiot rich sons used to do, he threw his cash around trying to buy his way into being a nerd. Except he's not smart. So he washed out of the digital money transfer game, but made them keep his name around as a founder. He bought enough of Tesla so he got to put his name all over someone else's work and fuck up the factory safety records by being a dumb weirdo who won't allow them to use yellow signs for caution. No, really, that's a thing. You can look it up. Pulls that same shtick with SpaceX and sucks up government subsidy money while acting like he's doing them a favor. And then after all that, he still wants to throw a tantrum and buy Twitter because he was apparently mad people were making fun of him there. And that's a deal that we're now watching go to pieces in real time in completely predictable ways.
The truth is, these are not very bright guys, and things got out of hand.
And now look, I'm not here in this episode to shit on Elon. For one thing, if I wanted to just make fun of Elon Musk, if anyone wants to make fun of Elon Musk, there's this whole website called Twitter that Elon Musk paid $44 billion for, and all anyone uses it to do now is make fun of Elon Musk and pull dumb pranks on corporate accounts by exploiting the mess he made of the checkmark algorithm to try and make him lose his money.
Homosexual? Come on. One of you guys has got to be homosexual.
Don't look at me.
No. You rotten little punk. If I ever get a hold of you, I'll sink my teeth into your cheek and rip your face off.
You'll do what, young man?
What? Wait, who is this?
I mean, look, it sucks because for all its faults, Twitter was a pretty useful tool for a lot of small, independent, and especially marginalized artists, writers, content creators, and alternative media journalists to get their work shared around, and this rich, dumb, fish-face-looking baby man basically blew the whole thing the fuck up because he bought into the narrative that he could use it to be a political kingmaker or something and own the libs in the mainstream media because his feelings got hurt. But in that same context, the fact that in trying to make it easier for the Trump suckers to post their frog memes again, he broke all the protocols so bad random amateur comedians can get him in trouble with Lockheed Martin and Eli Lilly by tanking their stock price with fake tweets. Yeah, that's actually kind of funny, but I digress. No, my point was not really to give Elon a hard time. Bob willing, the feds will do that soon enough. Go Senator Markey. My point was to give you all a hard time. And myself a hard time. You, me, us, as in the internet. Nerd culture, popular tech discourse, the media, etc. Because the mythology he and guys like him were able to build up around themselves should never have been able to last as long as it did or result in people putting as much of their actual faith or financial risk in them as they ended up doing. I mean, thousands of people voluntarily put themselves behind the wheel of expensive cars sold to them by a guy who willingly did the following things on camera when he did not need the money in the first place.
Let's show the glass demo. Franz, could you try to break this glass, please? Yeah.
Sure?
Yeah.
No, I am not the evil. I just misunderstood.
There's a lot of negativity on Twitter.
You're like, what? How weird is this? And I'm even getting upset at some strange person saying something mean to me. It's not even accurate.
I mean, there are a vast number of negative comments. So for the vast majority of it, I just ignore them. The vast majority.
Yeah.
But every now and again, you get drawn in. It's not good.
It's not good.
Make mistakes.
Yes, you can make mistakes.
You can make some mistakes.
We're all human.
What the fuck? And it was always obvious that this person was stupid. Not that he was like dangerously stupid or suspiciously stupid or something else is going on here stupid. Just like I said, regular old, happened a million times before and will happen a million times again, story of rich people's dumb shit kids trying to buy their way into the spotlight as artists or innovators in fields they like but aren't actually talented at version of stupid. So many people and investors and fanboys and journalists and the producers of The Simpsons apparently full on bought into the hype this time because hey, he's talking about electric cars and digital currency and rocket ships, and those are smart nerdy things that smart nerds are into, so he must be a smart nerd, right? Oh, and before anyone brings it up, yes, I know he's on the spectrum. I don't think that really matters in this context, other than, okay, it's interesting, and to whatever degree it presents that he apparently didn't let it get in the way of his being supposedly an actual decent programmer when he was doing just that and the other things he has put legitimate work into. I mean, yeah, okay, otherwise it's not a positive or negative as far as I'm concerned. It's a fact of existence, a trait. You know, however well-intentioned, positive stereotypes are still stereotypes, and no, being neurodivergent doesn't automatically make you a science genius or a math savant, any more than being blind automatically makes you fucking Daredevil. And by the same token, as much as I'll be the first person to tell you I don't care about the gatekeepy question of whether you're a real authentic nerd or geek,
I have failed you.
based on what or how you like things that are thought of as nerd stuff, what I do know for absolute certain is that being into nerdy or geeky things doesn't make you smart. Being way the hell into Star Trek or Star Wars or liking NASA even doesn't mean you actually know anything about space. You just might think spaceships and laser swords and aliens and green chicks with big cans are awesome. Being big into the Marvel movies doesn't mean you're Tony Stark. You might just like shit blowing up in movie theaters. Watching The Matrix every single day in the late 90s doesn't mean you know jack shit about artificial intelligence now.
Obviously, The Matrix is about
transpolitics.
Crypto-fascism.
It's a metaphor
of capitalist exploitation.
Allow me to sum up our goal in a single word. Bullet time. Bullet time.
That's 2 words.
Look, just this past week or so, we had these two scenarios, and stay with me here, where FTX, one of the cryptocurrency scams, which is to say cryptocurrency, fell apart into a huge money-losing disaster despite having been endorsed by Tom Brady, a football star who people love for being great at football, maybe the greatest at football. And right before that, the Senate campaign of Herschel Walker, also a football star, came up short in the polls despite him having been endorsed by, well, Herschel Walker, who, as mentioned, also very good at playing football. Now, the thing is, yeah, some people lost out on these bets, but like not a lot of people, because most people, especially just regular people, aren't investing in crypto at this point, and they definitely didn't get into FTX, which is how it fell apart. And Herschel Walker was kind of doomed in politics based on that whole doesn't know how to make the speaky words with mouth problem, and his own family keeps telling everyone he sucks problem, so nobody was really surprised by either of those two things not working out. Like, everyone kind of knew Herschel Walker was stupid before they knew he was that stupid, and frankly it was way more shocking that Tom Brady fucked up his marriage than it was that he wasn't the celebrity endorsement you should trust about where to put your money. But the reason no one was all that surprised is that we as a culture are not conditioned to treat being good at football as an indicator of being really smart. But we are conditioned to treat being an awkward weirdo who likes nerdy shit like science and computers as exactly that, even if you are as obviously dumb as hell at everything but your specific job or hobbies as these two guys.
A lot of people think this is how you mine Bitcoin. You just need FTX.
And yet, it's only mostly Elon's fault. Sure, he's the rich jerk causing these problems, and he could just stop and go find a better way to enjoy his money than fucking up social media or the auto industry or the space industry that doesn't hurt or even helps people. But it took a lot of people buying into the hype to let him get away with it this long. The fact that Elon Musk, genius innovator, was just a rich dumb goon blowing all his money on electric cars and rocket ships because he thought those things were cool should have been obvious to fucking everyone right the hell away. But the same wrong-headed impression of how smart functions as more than just an aesthetic preference that had him chasing and cultivating that mythology for himself, had a lot of us being just stupid enough to buy into it, and that's how everything got out of control, and now a lot of bad has come of it. Maybe next time we'll remember and say to ourselves, maybe this thing that seems like it might just be stupid is actually just stupid. I'm Bob, and that's The Big Picture.